stress of walking into the county under budget season.
Yeah, yeah.
Believe me, when I subsidize.
Fantastic. We aim to please you. Keep you around.
Well, that's good news. That is a D1 offer like that, just to come out there. Wow.
So it's thrilling and exciting, and so now somebody has to subsidize the trip down. And this is why I don't go anywhere.
You're gonna need a second job.
I got a second job. But
Hey, Josh,
I'm really proud.
if you put him on that end, every time there's a speaker, we'll
Make
get to
sure
see
you
him
keep us
on
up to
TV.
date on what's going on there. That's exciting.
To me,
Don't think we
it
will.
really, really is.
Yeah, you ought to be excited.
The what? Oh, maybe, oh, he is. I thought maybe he was hiding in the back, but he's out here.
What's that? You driving? You driving this train?
Just water today, I got sugar water.
Well, I just crammed down a Snickers bar, and you all are welcome.
We saw that.
Was it good? Was it good?
That's for your benefit.
Yeah,
Was it
great.
good?
Yes.
See,
Appreciate the share. Yeah.
see, before I came, I had some of that homemade
It was the
fudge.
most expensive Snickers bar I ever purchased. $2.25.
Oh, see, I went to the
Okay.
armory and I bought some of that homemade fudge.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Citrus County tentative budget hearing this evening. It is 5:01. Just wanted to make an announcement and ask for the prayers for Andy LaHarris family. Andy passed away earlier today. But at this time, Diane South is going to lead us in our invocation, and followed by that, Mark from Pine Ridge is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could please come forward, and if you could rise.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for blessing us so richly with all that you do for us, our health, our love, the wisdom you've given our Board of County Commissioners. We thank you. We thank you in advance for their decisions, that they base them on what is right. We thank you for that. But we also thank you for this world, even though imperfect, and we've recently experienced the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Please keep those people and even the assailant in our prayers, their family. We have so much to be thankful for, and we thank you for that. And thank you for this meeting, and thank you for all that you'll do in the future for us. Amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing, face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if we could have the roll call, please.
Yes, ma'am. This is a special meeting of the Citrus County Board of County Commissioners this 11th day of September 2025. In attendance are Chair Rebecca Bays, First Vice Chair Diana Finnegan, Second Vice Chair Janet Barrick, Commissioner Jeff Kennard, Commissioner Holly Davis, County Administrator Steve Howard, and Department of Management Budget. I'm so sorry. Tammy Wilson. I'm still getting used to your name. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the tentative budget hearing presentations, charting our coast, tentative budget hearing.
Good afternoon. So we first wanted to start off with, we left the July 23rd meeting with direct instructions from all 5 board members to find some more money for road resurfacing. So I want to review where we've been able to find some money in the budget. We worked some numbers and bring the funding numbers back to where we were for 24-25. So a big check mark because we were able to do this. This is a summary of the total tax revenues, the top line. Because of our ad valorem and the gas tax, we will bring in almost $450,000 more. And this is our normal allocation that we bring to road resurfacing the last few years. And then we also have some one-time funds. And last year we had about $6.5 million in one-time funds. And this year we were able to pull in about 6.1, which is a little less than last year, but it does bring the overall total up to almost $90,000 more than last year for road resurfacing. So to accomplish this is just a breakdown here of the last 3 years of the 0.4 of a mil that we bring in for the transportation ad valorem, and then we bring in $4 million from gas tax every year. And then the one-time funds, and I do want to emphasize that these are one-time funds. These aren't all reoccurring, so something will have to be done after this to keep up the funding of our road resurfacing. We bring in some additional transportation ad valorem, and those were additional dollars that we had been rolling over. And then the gas tax, we had some money left in our fund balance last year, so that's what they used to bring those numbers up. And this year we only have about $500,000 left. We did find out the ARPA interest that we earned on the ARPA funds. We do not have to return to the federal government, so we are going to put that towards road resurfacing. Our general fund one-time CIP, formerly Duke, we did put some money back from Port Citrus and then pulled a little more from that, another $200,000 to put some money in there. And then last year when we trued up the funds, when we finalized the year, we had about $2 million, and the commission at that time had decided to put it towards road resurfacing in 26. So like I said, these are all one-time funds. We were able to do it this year, but we'll have to, moving forward, we're going to have to probably do some things to come up with funding to keep it at this level. Any questions on the road resurfacing? Oh, and the next slide, so I do want to point out that in 2015, we were only putting about $1 million towards road resurfacing. And then, as you can see, that's a 1,528% increase in the last 15 years. So we have been putting money towards it, but we need to keep putting money towards that road resurfacing. Any questions on those numbers? All right. All right, so I'll move on to the C1 and discuss the purpose of the public hearing. The purpose of the hearings are primarily for the purpose of explaining the budget, proposed tax levy, and any proposed amendments, as well as affording the general public the opportunity to participate in the budget process. C2 will discuss the proposed tentative millage rates for fiscal year 25-26. So the first, the millage rates here are in compliance with TRIM, and that is per statute there. Hold on, I can't read that there. So our taxing authority is Citrus County. Our aggregate rollback rate is 8.4502, and the percentage increase over the aggregate rollback rate is 5.01%. So the tentative aggregate millage rate is 8.8733. All right. So now we will, this is a proposed tentative millage, produces $143,075,355 in ad valorem tax revenue in total. C3 will discuss the proposed tentative budget for fiscal year 25-26. So the proposed tentative budget is $505,866,078. This is a 1.79% increase from last year's 24-25 budget, which was $497,023,889. So there were, in the agenda, there were modifications to the budget from the July workshop. There was Exhibit A, which were budget modifications, Exhibit B, and then there are cash carry forwards, which were Exhibit C. Are there any questions on this? Right.
Any questions?
So no public comment.
All right, at this time, we'll open it up to the public. Anyone wishing to address the board, please come forward. You will have 3 minutes, and we'll ask that you fill out a green card, and when you're ready to talk, if you'll give us your name and your address, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, I'm Ray Kolofsky. I've lived in Citrus County for 25 years, but I live in the county. You know, I love the police, I love the fire and everything, and I know the county needs money for these things, but so far, you know, it hasn't helped me at all. My property taxes keep going up every year, and my road looks like a quilt, you know, a patchwork quilt around it. And last year, my wife, I had to call 911 for an ambulance. It took almost 40 minutes for the ambulance to get there. And finally, the ambulance just called a chopper. I had to airlift her to Hudson. So, you know, that's, to me, I don't know what's happening or where the money's going. I don't know if you people have extra money for like affordable housing they put it aside, but take some of that money maybe and cut the budget down, the millage rate maybe in half. 100%, you know, from what I was paying last year for the fire. I forgot what it was, $200 and something, and now they want to put it up to 400 and something. I'm not quite perfect on my math. It's been a while. But on this affordable housing thing, if you ever have it again, I've had some people that I saw in affordable housing, and there'd be a man and a wife, 3 kids, everybody on SSI, getting food stamps, getting some kind of assistance. The guy is young, in his 30s, not working, drinking beer on the porch. And then I have a woman that I know who's a waitress, who's in her elder years to try to make things right, and she cannot get into affordable housing. So I don't know where that is. I just threw that in to let you know sometimes you got to really investigate these people that are going into that. If you have people like that in affordable housing and they're not working, create a job for them. Pick up trash, go do something. But anyway, that's what I believe. I don't believe in cutting the budget all the way down to nothing, but at least put half. Instead of $400 increase, make it maybe instead of paying $400 and something, make it $300. You know, cut it down a little bit. But anyway, that's my take on it. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Mark Zaveska. I live at 3633 North Wagon Point in Pine Ridge. I have a letter on file, looking for 5 minutes if I could, please. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm bringing a little bit of a message of concern from our residents on the amount of funding for road resurfacing in fiscal 26. I'd like to bring your attention to page 5 of 44 of the agenda package. It's titled Total Road Resurfacing. It's got the nice green check on top of it. It's intended to convey a good news story, but if you stop and take an objective, fact-based, critical look at the actual numbers in it, a little bit of a different picture starts to develop. If we compare fiscal 25 to fiscal 26, it increases $90,000, call it. That's 0.5%. That will not even cover inflation. So net, you're spending less dollars next year than you are this year in real dollar terms. So you can argue that the increase occurred. At the same time, people that deal with inflation day to day, and you just heard one, we deal with it every day. We understand the impact inflation is, and so we think that you should be beating inflation when you do that. If we compare fiscal 26 to what's in the current capital improvement projects, it's called for just shy of $19.5 million. That's what the board approved to spend the next year in roads. We're $3.2 million short of that. If we compare it to some of the dialogue that occurred at the last budget meeting that we had, the number was thrown around, about $20 million. We thought that was in line with the capital improvement program. We thought that's what it would probably look like. We're $3.7 million short of that. But if you look at what is most important, what is the need? How does this number compare to the need to fix our roads? According to the All About Roads presentation, the estimated annual cost to keep our roads at a acceptable level of condition is expected to exceed $40 million annually. We know that number. We've known that number for a while, and it may adjust a little bit in the future. We don't know that, but the budget is $23.7 million short of that number, the need of every year. That's about 40% of what's required. So yeah, you can say the $90,000 increase is there, but it doesn't cover inflation. $3.2 million short of what's in the capital improvement projects. It's about $3.7 million short of the $20 million we talked about at the last meeting, and it's $23.7 million short of what the need is. If I could take your attention to page number 8 of 44 from the agenda packet. The title is Resurfacing Funding History. And I think this is a great slide because it captures the strategic neglect of our roads that every one of you inherited. This is one of several problems that have been kicked down the road. But one of the things it's designed to do is show a good news story. And once again, you take that critical look at it and you go, you're comparing fiscal year $15 with fiscal year 26, but not including inflation. If you were to include inflation in this, and I can talk about national costs, I can't talk about local costs, that bar would actually be about half its size. Half its size, about $8 million, if you use national numbers. Again, local numbers are what we have to put up with, and I'm sure the staff could generate those. That 1,500% increase, no, that's somewhat misleading, we think, in that one. Mark Twain once said, there's lies, damn lies, and statisticians. And Mark Twain was a humorist. I'm kind of following that line, trying to put a little levity on a otherwise tough situation. I'm certainly not saying these are lies or these are damn lies or anything like that, so please do not get that impression. But it does help illustrate a point. Good people can make statistics misleading without critical thinking. Good people can make decisions based on without critical thinking, based on misleading statistics. And you guys are all good people. You want what's best for the county. And so we urge you, in this budget, you have got to do better than this in real dollars. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you tonight.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, Dr. Susan Barrett, Citrus Springs. This is a picture of our road going for a walk. We understand that you inherited this problem, but this is a picture, okay? The other thing is, my husband and I moved here 3 years ago, And I know a lot of native Floridians have an issue with us New Yorkers coming here and driving up the prices of everything. But it's better than having these homes sitting here vacant, empty. There are 750 odd homes for sale right now that are vacant with overgrown weeds. I had to call the code enforcers and use my name. I have a problem with that, to clear up the weeds and everything. My husband and I planted sweet viburnum instead of a fence with chemicals to keep nature coast, and we had to beg the water department, can we please water them every day when these sprinkler systems are going night and day on empty homes. I watch the meetings from home when I can't make it here. We're going through some health issues right now. Sometimes we can't make it every day. Believe me, I would be. My father was an Erie County legislator. I'm also the daughter of a politician. I get it, okay? Commissioner Kennard, I wanted to stand up and applaud the TV when you said just a few months ago you were thinking about putting forth a motion to stop these builders temporarily until they move some of these homes. My husband and I counted on one road coming up here today, 8. You know what I think would be a better idea? Allow these builders to build only if they have a contract in hand. What about that? Buy the lot, make sure you have a commitment from the person willing to buy that house before they're just, not to mention, not only is this, I don't have time, I only have 3 minutes, I could pull up pictures of our roof, Century Complete Homes. And I found out I might have something, small claims court against, I love this county, don't get me wrong, I do. We moved here because we thought, oh, wetlands, they're not gonna be building on wetlands, nature coast, we wanted quiet, we wanted country, we're all some musicians, right? We didn't go to the villages, we didn't want that. And now you guys are turning this into the villages, I'm sorry. My home values right now are dropping faster than a Florida sinkhole. I mean it. 50,000, 40,000, take a look at Redfin. 20,000, 30,000 marked down, some of them $50,000. We paid only $267,000 for our house. We didn't come anywhere near the nation median, which is ridiculous to begin with. Okay? And now the taxes, the special assessments. We all know that Governor DeSantis is trying to put forth to abolish property taxes. That's kind of crazy, but there was also a motion that failed to stop special assessments. Is that next? Special assessments in lieu of taxes? How can we fight that? I got more to say, but I'm out of time. Thank you. Thank you. And by the way, you guys are doing a great job. Thank you for what you did in Homosassa Springs. You do listen, and that's why I came today, because you listen to those people. You're saving one of our Nature Coast gems. Chesawick.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, please.
Oh, the card. I got the card. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Gil Phelan. I'm from Lecanto. I just want to apologize in advance. I'm sure if I saw me coming up here every week, I wouldn't like it either, so I don't blame you. You know, I just want to say blessings to Charlie Kirk, you know, true freedom fighter, freedom of speech. He was an awesome example, and that poor Ukrainian woman. But, you know, Charlie was really both a political and a spiritual martyr. There's no doubt about that, because he talked about Christ a lot as well. But, you know, they're not the only victims. We here in Citrus County are victims as well. And I have to say that it seems to me that the Democrats are the party of Satan, you know? And we're seeing that more and more as time goes by. This isn't Republicans and conservatives murdering innocent people. It's all whack job Democrats run by Satan, okay? It's not about the line items and the budgets and all that's nice, but I really believe this is a spiritual battle between good and evil. You know, the evil rot that we're fighting is permeated right down to us here in Citrus County. And I'm sorry to say, but I think we're left with spineless liars as representatives, and instead of people reflecting our will as citizens, okay? I watched Tuesday's meeting, and I mean, I was very impressed. There was a lot of good speakers there and heartfelt things. And of course, we're told, well, don't worry about the assessments on your property. Stop bitching about it because, we don't do that. That's the assessors. Oh, okay, no problem then. We double and triple our taxes. Don't worry. Roads, my wife just reminded me, what road? I wish I had a road. I had to build it. I had to get some millings to build it up so I didn't sink in it. And we're talking about all this money. I don't know where it goes. It's not going to my road. But let's quickly, I don't want to waste my time here. Book page. Wonderful, wonderful thing we have in the library. How can you miss out on books like Hot Girls with Balls? That's, I've been waiting for a book like that my whole life. And there's nothing but queer and drag books in there. And you're spending, we go to the advisory board, we go to here. What lunatics do we have running this asylum? Huh? What kind of crap are you putting in? This is a recommended reading list for our citizens and our children. Are you kidding me? Really? What world am I living on? It boggles my mind. Is that good or evil? I don't know. It's kind of easy to figure that one out, right? Charlie Kirk was murdered by some whack job trans activist, as it's turning out. And you let them come into the meetings dressed in their costumes, giving fake names. What's that mean?
You're out of time.
3 minutes already? Holy mackerel. I only got halfway done. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Thank you. My name is Ray Brown. I live in Homosassa. I want to acknowledge Charlie Kirk's death. You will be missed. Conservatives will not be silenced. We pray that the assassin is caught and persecuted and is caught. Mrs. Feingang, owning and operating a small business these days is hard enough. You understand the importance of tax relief and understand that no matter how small the taxes are, they still restrict growth. Spending tax monies on this book page is not the best way to spend our money. Mrs. Barrick, you too have had a very fulfilling life. You've come from states like New Jersey, California, Michigan. When you moved to Citrus County in 2006, were you planning to bring those liberal state beliefs, or were you planning to bring your conservative beliefs and values? It is important that you know and understand the people you're governing, this retirement community, and we should not allow such advertisements as book page in our libraries. Mr. Kennard, what is your mission? You allow book page to infiltrate this retirement community. You talk about your conservative values and managed growth. You yourself are a small business owner and also understand the unneeded taxes and burdens on taxpayers. Mrs. Bays, in your mission stations, you talk about faith in God and Christianity. It comes natural to you. You work hard in a corporate America, which is a great achievement. Raised a family, started your own company, and great accomplishments. You also understand risk management. It is so risky to keep funding book page. Mrs. Davis, it looks like you've had a very exciting career, from being a pilot, scuba diver, and horsemanship. My daughter, too, competed and won many trophies in barrel racing competitions. Thank you and your dad for your service. My oldest son served on the USS Kitty Hawk and served in Afghanistan in the Navy Reserves. Book page promotes and causes confusion in families and healthy road family values. Please discontinue. When commissioners vote and allow witchcraft, Satan worshipers, drag queens, and other satanic witchcraft in their community, you're eating away at the family values. Stop promoting this propaganda in the disguise of family fun. Hot Girls with Balls, Rebel in the Deep, Honey Witch, Witching Year, Misbehaving at Crossroads, Girls That Grew Too Big, $322,000 is spent on purchasing 1,300 books with very little vetting. Please stop this type of books being brought into our libraries. I want to thank you all so much for being here today and listening to us and hearing us out. Please adhere to abolishing book page. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Betty Wittersheim, and I'm just here to object to the ad valorem taxes. It started out, we had one item on it. It's now grown to 3. When you're retired, you cannot afford this, not with inflation. I also can applaud all of you for the job you're doing. I wouldn't have it for the world. But thank you.
Thank you.
How y'all doing? This is the first time I've been at any one of these meetings.
Could I get your name and your address for
My
the
name's
record?
Dwayne Davis,
Thank you.
and I have a place in Shasta, Wisconsin, 11440 Eagle View Point. I have a place in Plant City, and past 4 years, I've been getting my eyes gouged out on taxes. My taxes went up 3 times as much. All right? Here's the problem. You guys are allowing this to charge taxes on property value. Let's do it like this. I got a proposal for every one of you to think about when you're eating dinner, and maybe even going to bed. Say, for instance, your property tax is, property payment per year is $20,000. What is wrong with charging taxes on that $20,000 for millage rate? You act like we're having a prepaid college fund with this taxes. There's a lot of people out there that can't afford it. Personally, I don't want to afford it. And we have to do something about this. If you don't agree with something on your property taxes and you have a problem with it, you got a certain amount of time to contest it. Well, that's fine. But there's never nothing done about it. Property taxes keep going up. I'm a bricklayer, block layer, concrete finisher. I do stucco. I do all kinds of stuff in masonry. I work hard for my money. I work hard for my money. And to keep giving it away, I feel like I'm getting bit in the rear end on both ends from Citrus County and Hillsborough County. Because I own 2 places. One's homesteaded and one I can't. But you guys really need to think about this. If you pay $20,000 a year in mortgage, what's wrong with charging millage rate on that for that year instead of this, what it's worth? Because I can say my place is worth $1 million. Try to get that million's a different story. You got what I'm saying? Something's got to give here. There's a lot of people out there. I know a guy that's sitting in the woods right now because he lost his house. He's sitting in the woods right now. He's a veteran. And he can't afford the property taxes where he's at right now in Levy County. And this has got to stop. You got to draw the line somewhere. I know you need money and everything, but charging for what somebody else had paid for a piece of property, which we call estimated value, that's crazy. Let's do something different for a change. Let's help the people in this county. And I'm going to Hillsborough. I took off today to come here, and I'm going to Hillsborough tomorrow, and I'm going to their meeting about this same issue. Something's got to give. All of y'all, I hope you think about it while you're eating dinner, or maybe when you're getting ready for bed. Have a good day.
Thank you. Next, please.
Diane South, I live in Pine Ridge. Commissioners, I feel like we're living in a Glenn Frey song that was released in 1992. The song is I Got Mine. There are many residents in Citrus County that did not get theirs while a few do. Let's review and remember that decisions, particularly long-term monetary decisions, have consequences. Currently, and we're concerned about taxes, currently we are a pro-growth commissioners, and at present we do not have a plan that is monitoring our growth, correct? There is a saying that says failing to plan is planning to fail, and this is where we are today. With no plan in place, you are asking for a tax increase to help fund the infrastructure of Citrus County based on developers and builders who do not live here and are not paying for their fair share of road improvements, police, fire protection, etc., and in most cases causing a decrease in the tax base, which I'll get to. Don't forget the destruction to our roads as the heavy equipment pounds our pavement, and for several years before a large-scale development or any development actually comes to fruition where you have tax-paying people. I would like to know if you're going to increase the impact fees to these developers, the ones that are ruining our roads. In the August 26th 501 meeting between Pine Ridge and a developer, realizing that 3 commissioners voted against approximately 11,000 residents in Pine Ridge and was in favor of an out-of-town developer who wants to build 80 houses. Those 80 houses most likely are not going to be built out for 5 to 10 years. That's 80 houses, but in the interim, we have lost our tax base. Ever since the golf course was not deemed a golf course, the tax appraiser, we lost property value of 25%, and it continues to go down from there. It's also diminished our home values as well, which another lady was talking about earlier. And so Citrus County needs those funds. Approximately, you are losing $1 million a year based on those taxes being degraded. That's a lot of money, because I was just looking at the sign where I think it's $175,000 per mile to pave roads. That could have gone a long way, particularly since you do not have it in the budget for next year. That was a one-time occurrence. I believe that's what I had heard. So having said that, I am hoping that we will have our pro building will get together with a actual city planner where we can plan out and just be more proactive in this area. And I thank you for your time, and thank you for your hard work.
Thank you. Good evening.
Oh, good evening. My name's Gary Litfin, West Rolling Place, Citrus Springs. Just kind of come up impromptu here, but one of my questions is library taxes. I don't understand why they've jumped so high. Is there any way there can be a referendum set on this? It's almost ridiculous. The other one is there's quite a bit of building going on here that I was kind of surprised when I decided to move down here about 3 years ago that, there was a lot of areas that were set aside for parks and, either through federal government or through the state, whatever, and it just seems like it's being overrid all the time. If somebody doesn't get what they want as far as a developer is concerned, they just come back again in a few more months and they just keep changing, just keeps rolling until they finally get their candy. And it's crazy. And, it's pretty much what I was trying to say. And yeah, the roads could use a lot of repair. I've had repair in front of my house, potholes, twice already within the last 3 years, and there's still about 4 more of them that need to be. They'll just do like 1 or 2 of them and then move on down the line. I don't really understand. It seems like when they do things, it's just done halfway or partially and not completed. Well, anyways, thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you. Hi there.
Hi. Gary McClintock, Hernando, Florida. The good news is my road's in good shape. But I'm here about the library. I've been going to library meetings, and it seems like to be a forgotten corner of the county. And I don't like what's going on there. You all heard the books that they mentioned, and here's an example. They're talking about kids' books, spelling out the words in the kids' books, and then okay them to be in the youth section. There's something wrong there. 7 out of 9 and the library board are woke. And they're pushing that agenda, and they don't stop. They just don't stop. And my suggestion is fire them all. Maybe start some hires, downsize, because most people don't even know where the library is. I don't know how many people use it, but I don't think it's, compared to the county, I don't think it's used that much because we have the internet now and things. And I think you could very well downsize the library and at least not support the books that they buy, because their agenda does not add up to the Citrus County agenda. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
Good evening, Commissioners.
Hi there.
Robin Orlandi, Dunellen. I'm here tonight, I wanted to talk about the library budget, but I see I'm going to have to backtrack just a moment and say the Library Advisory Board is looking at Book Pages. Book Pages is a book review. It includes a section of Christian book reviews. The list and the names that people have given you here from an organized group that fights against our libraries is a curated list. I went back through 7 editions of Book Page and came up with an equal number of books that are generic in content, anyone would love, would be appropriate to be read in public. And I'll also point out that Book Pages, in my time as a librarian, reviewed Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance, Unbroken, and other books that I think could be read by anyone in the community. So I would ask you to please disregard that prejudice and leave it to the Library Advisory Board to take a look at that and decide its appropriateness for the community. I did want to say for the library budget, based on the fact that the millage is consistent across other departments, if you would approve as presented by the Library Advisory Board and recommended by them, the budget as it exists. I know there's been discussion about, oh, ebooks are better and, we don't need libraries anymore, physical resources, but 2 things are happening here. As people undergo economic stress, there's more demand put on libraries because if you're successful or privileged, you can afford to buy materials as price goes up. It doesn't matter if the cost of a book or a computer goes up. But if you're a family under distress, you're a working person that just can't make ends meet, no matter that everyone is working, you can't afford to buy that privilege. You need that library more than ever. And the fact of the matter is that tactile books, physical collection is something that someone that doesn't have internet at home can take with them in order to read to their child, read to themselves, learn new skills for a job. So by saying that it's only e-materials that are important, you're discriminating against the least privileged among us. Also, pediatricians and other science show that just like for sales, when you want to sell something, you say, look at this beautiful jacket, isn't it beautiful? Wouldn't you like to try it on? You don't, touching the puppy, holding the puppy teaches us more. That's how we're wired physically, psychologically. So holding a physical book, when you read to your child, studies show that there's much better parent-child interaction. Children learn better, and it's also like a reality check on the child, like the letter A, the picture of the cat, the word cat. Oh wait, that's my cat. There's the word. Here's the book. So please fund the library budget as presented by the advisory board. And thank you very much for everything you do. I know this is a difficult time of the year.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mirna Phelan. I live in Lecanto, South Brady Point. Yes, I am citizen by choice. And by choice, why? Because I know United States is the best country to speak out and not to disregard anybody's opinion. So at this point, I know the books that they are showing in the library is not good. So I cannot be disregarded when somebody else's opinion is there. It's a truth. It's an evil, complete evil, evil books. So I am asking you, are we conservatives? Because if it is not, it's okay to have those books there. But if we are conservatives, we should not leave those books in there for our kids, because we want them to be with principles, the complete principles that is against to that. So, and I am hearing a lot of people talking about holes in the roads. Well, congratulations, you have holes, because in my case, I don't have a road, and we have 7 years paying taxes, and we are not having a road. So you want me to tell you my address? I can give you my address. See if you can help me. Really, really profusely asking you to help us. It's just 3 miles in the road, and we have nothing. We have no road. It's totally sand that our cars cannot go through. And at the end of the road is a couple, which they are 85 years old, and they are on troubles when we have the rain and being washed out with all the sand. So I'd rather to have a hole, having, thinking about, I'd rather to have a hole than not a road. And I'm not criticizing the others, no, but I am just waiting for 7 years that somebody go and help us with this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dean Bales, and I live in Homosassa. And the last time I was at the Library Advisory Board, I was talking, and I just barely got the words out of my mouth that there's these trans shooters that just keep coming. And right at the instant I barely got that out of my mouth, thank you, Mr. Bales, you're out of time. That was on a Monday. Tuesday, I heard word that there was another shooting, and I thought, I wonder if there was a trans or an LGBT behind that also. And then the following day, they came up with the information that yes, indeed, once again, it was. And there's a lot of things that aren't making the news too much that are LGBT violence related, like, you consider that the 3 lesbians who run the Black Lives Matter movement have spawned an enormous amount of havoc indirectly. They just sit back and demonize police and defund them and everything else. But anyway, on this library review book, here's some things I didn't get a chance to talk about then. Here's one book called Psilocybin Mushrooms in Their Natural Habitats. I never knew what that word meant. Looked it up. Turns out this is making a pitch for a book that talks about psychedelic mushrooms, drug use. And this is free for anybody to just pick up. There's another one about a woman falls in love with no less than the Prince of Darkness himself, with Satan. There's a lot of occult stuff in there, and we know that there's a lot of occult influence in these school shooters and crazy people everywhere. It's not just fun and games, they figure you as like some kind of a 16th century witch hunter if you bring up the subject. Well, the subject is in our faces whenever there's some act of violence, and you find out that, like this most recent shooter put pentagrams on his weaponry, and had a hand-drawn picture of him standing in a vanity mirror, and the reflection back was like some horned devil thing. And, for every time they do a review and make a pitch for a book like that, you got to think, well, what better book could they have written on to which they just kind of swept aside so that they could push for this? That's kind of backhanded censorship. We get called censors, but maybe we're upfront and honest about things, but they're sneaky and underhanded about the censorship that they perpetrate, and they call it content moderation and other little seemingly innocent euphemisms. And, they're not so innocent, because when these people take power, if they get a chance to do so, if they'll censor you, they'll have you deplatformed. Whatever damage they can do it. If all they can do is just intimidate you as a homophobe, whatever, call you names, they'll do it. Okay, I'm out of here. See you.
Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Trina Romeo. I live in Inverness.
I'm sorry, could you?
My name is Trina Romeo. I live at 3149 East Grapeleaf Lane, Inverness. And I just wanted to mention, a lady spoke about empty homes. And I don't really think it's the builder's fault, because we have our banks, Bank of America and all these other banks, that are giving mortgage loans to people that don't even have hardly any deposit. They don't even have to put deposits down many times. They don't have to have real credit checks like a financial institution should ask for. I mean, it's a little bit crazy. So when the people buy the houses, they can't maintain it because they don't have a good job or for whatever reasons. But it's not really the builder's fault. But the builders are really trying to get things going fast, because it surely seems like we're going to have another one of those bank bailout things going on. And they foresee it happening, I guess, in a couple of years. So they want to get everything built as fast as possible. But they can't have bailouts anymore, which means everyone doesn't have to pay for a bailout. That means that the people from the banks, it's called a bail-in now. The banks will have the account holders have to be responsible for their poor business decisions. So that was something I learned about, and I was like pretty shocked about that. But the other thing about the library now, book page, right? When you go to the library, you have a library card so that you go get a book and you bring it back. Book page is not that. Book page is basically like a magazine booklet referring about different books. Now, they do it about all different kind of books. Happens to be some very unsavory books were listed on that, which is causing an uproar, which I actually agree with. But they pay like $3,300 a year for this subscription, but they give 30 booklets to every library, and the people can just take them. They don't check them out or anything. So we're buying this for people to come and take, which is totally crazy for a library to be doing, spending our money that way. I'm not very fond about the different kind of books that are in the library. But then you have the families that maybe are not paying enough attention to their own families about what's good and what's better and what's best. It's not always what's good and bad. Sometimes it's good, better, best, and making better choices and being wise. But as far as the taxes go, I don't really want to see the taxes go up, but there's so many homes being sold for so much money that will probably be empty, many of them, in the next 2 years. But we're getting estimated property taxes for when we've been here for like 30 years that are out of sight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. John Labriola from Inverness. And a number of speakers talked about the book page subscription. This was a topic that was discussed at the recent Library Advisory Board meeting. Unfortunately, the Library Advisory Board decided not to make a decision at that meeting. However, you as the County Commission can make a decision to remove that line item from the budget. And as was mentioned well, actually, I brought a number of copies of the book page subscription, the latest one, the book page September edition. If I could give it to the clerk, and I got 6 copies, so one for each. If that could be entered into the record, and you can each go through it yourself, because it was mentioned that there was a book. Oh, you do? Okay. It was mentioned that there was a book review of Hillbilly Elegy as a defense. So now, Hillbilly Elegy came out, what, like 10 years ago? You have to go back 10 years to find a book that is not even a conservative book at the time. It was just basically J.D. Vance, not as a candidate, but about his youth as a, growing up. So it wasn't really, didn't have an ideological bent. But if you go through that magazine, now a number of books are that are reviewed, that are recommended in there, don't have an ideological bent. They're just generic books. But the ones that do have an ideological bent invariably come from the left. And as was mentioned, and quite a few of them have, specifically, they push the transgender message very, very hard, including in this latest edition. There's a featured article with a transgender author in pink makeup and pink wig and makeup, talking about his book, which is about it says, a queer academic and secret witch. And his favorite stories involve transgressive sex or naked rituals. This is just matter-of-factly mentioned as, it's good stuff, So why is that in our library? And it's all from the left. Now, there's never any book there from, Ben Carson is never recommended, and he writes a number of books. Charlie Kirk is never recommended. And as was mentioned before, Charlie Kirk, apparently, it was mentioned that it might have been a transgender shooter as well. The day that the Library Advisory Board voted was the day before the Catholic transgender shooter, and now it looks like possibly Charlie Kirk was also shot by a crazed transgender. And they're pushing transgenderism very, very hard, in addition to CRT and a number of other left-wing topics. If you go through that magazine, you'll see that there's no other side that's given. It's all left-wing, and it's all given as this is the way that it should be. It insults conservatives. And so we're just asking you to please cut that line item out of your budget and adopt the rollback rate for the library budget. Adopt the rollback rate and take that out of the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, we'll close open to the public. All right. Board, do you want to address anything?
Sure.
Commissioner Finnegan?
I want to thank our Office of Management and Budget. I think that they really worked on this. I don't know if all of you in the audience were here for the preliminary budget meeting. I think it probably, I'll take the blame for it, went a lot longer than expected, and the board was gracious with that. There was a lot of discussion. Every department had to defend their position. I came prepared with a lot of wants, and one was adding $7 million to the road resurfacing budget that was missing, and $1.3 million for the Sheriff's Office COPS grant. I think they took a deep breath. The board all saw it that way, and I believe Commissioner Kennard had made that motion. And our budget director, Tammy Wilson, was brand new at the time, and we tasked her with that, and it was accomplished. I hear you, Pine Ridge. I hear you, Mr. Speska, because this needs to be part of the budget, not always searching for money. I 100% agree with you, but this year I told them to find it. This board told them to find it, and they did. Looking forward to next year, I would agree. We need to make that part of the budget. We have now a year to work on that, and thank you for pointing that out. Trying to remember everybody's comments. Of course, a lot is about the book page, which I have looked at some of those copies, and I can't argue with you about the things that are in there. But I'm going to tell the board, if we're talking about budget, here's why this board should be fine with striking that, because it alerted me to another thought. So I'm sure this publication to get printed, if whatever book it is, a mainstream, regular, any book, I'm sure they pay because it's advertising. I'm going to get my little ad in this little publication so people will want to read my book. And I'm sure that's how it's funded. So why in the world are the taxpayers buying a free publication to try to promote books that the taxpayers didn't put in? I probably wouldn't have the same argument if it was given to them and the people can choose to pick it up, but we're paying for it and it's already paid for on the back end. So from a business perspective and a budget perspective, I get it, that it makes no sense to me why we're paying for an already paid for publication. We're paying to publicize and try to get people interested in this books. We should not be doing that, because it does look, at that point, the county then is now promoting these books because we're paying for it. It's not free. So I have no problem in that. Every year I've sit here, which hasn't been a lot of years, I have voted against this budget. But in thanking the management and budget team for our general fund budget, I'm going to have to go with it. You have done everything that I asked. Spent hours explaining it. You listened. Transportation also, I mean, we're lacking in that. We're going to keep that. So there are two, somebody had mentioned rollback rate. I had mentioned it during the preliminary budget meeting. We had Ms. Wilson go back and look at that. And what I got back is if we did roll back health department and library, it does not cut their budgets. The only thing it would cut out is a small amount from the reserves for the year. And I think that's fair. I would like us to leave here and then fix this for the final budget hearing in a couple of weeks to save the taxpayers' money. I still want to save the money. We didn't do rollback anywhere else. I know that we have fallen behind and we have fixed so much in our budget, but these are two budgets that it's not going to hurt their budget at all if we roll them back. We're keeping what they're getting the same. We are taking away nothing if we roll them back. And the budgets that they have produced, it's not going to change them. It's just going to affect what they have in reserves. So that's where I would like to vote. Yes, for the other millages, those two millages, just roll them back. Don't take anything from them. And then I am listening to the citizens. They made one argument, but just from a county taxpayer perspective, I don't think we should be promoting any different books with any publication. And that's where I stand. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis?
Couple of housekeeping items before I get into the money aspect. The musician in the back corner, I think, whoever was, yeah, there you are. Anonymous code complaints is a state mandate. So every year I have presented, since I've been on the board at Florida Association of Counties, I sit on the community committee, and every year I've put forward or supported a county who's put forward, we did it a couple of times, please bring back anonymous code complaints. So that's not us. One other note for you, it sounds like you're trying to do a Florida-friendly yard, and even though you're a Yankee and I'm a Southern girl, welcome, and thank you for trying to do a Florida-friendly yard. Impact fees, Mrs. South, wherever you went, thought so. You normally do your homework before you roll in here, and you did not today. We jacked up impact fees hugely earlier this year, massively. So that is you're exactly right, to get development to bear more of the fair share of the increase infrastructure that we need. As a reminder, one more time, it can only pay for expansion of capacity. It cannot repave roads. Speaking of roads, Colonel, thank you for sort of lukewarm praise for us getting it to where it is. All of your points are very well taken. Commissioner Bays and I have said over and over and over again, we have to figure out a different way to fund road resurfacing, because this will never get us to 40 million, not with ad valorem. We do have a cap at 10 mils, so on ad valorem, so that's never gonna fix it. The devil is in the details of trying to figure out how to do that fairly, because if you just got your road paved and you don't have to pay an MSBU for the next 20 years, then your neighbor down the road that didn't get his road paved has to immediately been paying taxes all these years and then has to pay an MSBU. That's not fair to them. So we've been trying to crack that nut for a while. Commissioner Finnegan, that roads graphic, please take that to heart. Rollback is killing everything. We have been so massively underfunded. The health department actually would need more millage if they could get it, and they are settling by never asking for more millage, just keeping it the same. And the same goes for our libraries. As far as Book Page goes, it is a book review magazine. I think I know at least the ones I've heard that are the most egregious titles that are not anything I would ever read or have with my family situation. We don't own those. We didn't buy them. I do understand that Book Page is very popular with folks that aren't y'all. So we do have to serve 170,000 residents. What I would say is it's chain of command. Y'all get sick of me saying this, but I come from a military family. It's chain of command. We have a library advisory board. They are reviewing Book Page. If they decide to cut it, I'm totally fine with that. If they decide to keep it in, then that's fine too. I would like to keep the millage exactly the same, and they could take that $3,300 and Adam, buy some more ebooks, because with pennies getting pinched everywhere, we need more ebooks. Every time I go on there to try to check a book out, which none of y'all would have a problem with, by the way, my tastes are quite actually tame. I have to wait like I'm the 20th person in queue. So spend the $3,300 on ebooks if you want to. But I'm all for keeping the millage exactly the way it's been set. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Barrick?
Hi, listening to all the different things. First of all, we need to maybe make some changes in county policy, because we have so many builders coming in and building. I have 5 houses within a 2-block area of my house that are built and, like you said, empty. Okay, they sit empty, and until the certificate of occupancy and the house is sold, then the tax goes on, but it takes a year, a little over a year to get on the tax roll. So that house can sit for however long. We need to do something about the fact that when they build the house and it's completely built, it goes on the tax roll immediately, and the builder is responsible for the property taxes right then and there. Just like the builders pay for water when they put the grass in. And I know you've seen it. They build a new house, and for 30 days or longer, the water goes on and on and on every single day. And unless somebody says something, the water department doesn't realize, and they let it keep going. Because I've had a couple that I've called that for like 65 days, the water was going a couple houses down from me. But some sort of policy needs to be changed by the county. Yes, some of our builders do have owners of houses before they build them. Those are the builders that actually live in our county, and they are responsible builders. It's the builders that come from outside the county that are not taking responsibility. That's one of the things we as commissioners have to start looking at and trying to figure out a way to make the builders from outside of the county responsible for what they're doing to our county. As for the Book Page, I get a magazine delivered to my house at least once a month. Tells me what books, has all these different books, titles, prices. Doesn't cost me anything. So when I see that we're paying a subscription for a magazine that does the same thing that I get delivered for free, to me, that is waste of our taxpayers' money. Okay, if Book Page wants to give 30 copies to the library for free and let us put it in there, that's fine. Because it's them that are making the money, they're advertising, they're the ones getting the money. And I understand, we should not be paying for something like that. Current catalog, I get that every couple of weeks, I get a new one. I don't pay for that. Okay, I get collections, I get Lakeside, I get all kinds of things in the mail. I don't pay for any of those magazines. So for us as a county to be paying for a subscription so that we can, let people see what's on sale or whatever, I don't think that's a good idea. I agree with Commissioner Finnegan. That line item should be stricken, just for the simple fact that it is not a necessary item. Take the $3,300 and spend it somewhere else. We have a lot of computer stuff. Maybe buy more toner so that the residents can, print out more pages of things that they're looking up. Okay, so to me, paying for a subscription for a book that I can get it wherever for free as a citizen should not be something that the library or the taxpayers should be paying for. Let me see, what else do I have down here? Let's see. I think that the budget department has done an excellent job. I am usually not for spending money or anything like that because I watch very closely. And when you were able to get funding for more roads, it may not seem like a lot to other people, but we need to get the roads addressed. And if we don't start getting some money, and I mean millions, into the road resurfacing program, we are going to all be living on streets that are sand and dirt and flowers. And for those people living in Citrus Springs, Pine Ridge, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, and then I've also heard from people down in Sugar Mill Woods that are starting to have the same type of thing. The gravel and the flowers are coming up and the dirt. And it's not good on anybody's car. Wear and tear on your car is not good. It's not good on your tires. And it's really not, it's a safety thing. The bus route that the bus by me takes every day, they have to stop on this road that's all gravel. And you can see the bus go as it comes to a stop. That's a safety hazard. So I agree, we should, do what we need to do. But that line item for the book page, I think needs to be stricken.
Commissioner Kennard.
Well, I guess I'm up. I will start, first of all, by congratulating Tammy and your team. You came in just before we got started with all this mess, really hit the ground running, and you've done a phenomenal job. Right out of the gate with road resurfacing, we went to them, as others have already said, and the first meeting was, that's not enough, go find more, and you did. Is it enough? No, it's obviously we need to put a lot more there, but there's only so much. Board members and people in the public that are watching at home or have joined us here today, great crowd here today. I think 9 years I've been here, I think this is probably the largest crowd we've seen on our second budget meeting. Welcome to budget season. Cut our taxes. We heard on Tuesday, we want more services. We've heard today, we want more money for road resurfacing. That's the budget season. That's part of the job, and we're all thankful when we're past it. Anyway, that's what I've heard over the last couple days here. So it was already addressed about the impact fees, so I won't belabor that point. Yes, I did discuss bringing forward a moratorium. We quickly found out that would get our behinds in a sling very quickly, if not sued. So we backed off of that and brought forward a series of initiatives that we've gotten started on. The very first thing was to raise the impact fees. Those went up significantly, a month ago now? And when the consultant was given the presentation, he was asked at that time if it included right-of-way acquisition, which the last two impact fee studies have not. It did not include right-of-way acquisition, which is millions of dollars in every road project. And so he was going to add an addendum to his report. And I believe when that comes back to this board will be raising impact fees again, so that when it is time to widen these roads, we've got money in there to purchase the right-of-way and actually build the road. That the people who are paying for these roads to be built are the newcomers to the county, not those of us who have been here for decades and have paid our taxes every year. So the moratorium wasn't going to work. We did our part as much as we could by law, by statute, on the impact fees. And then just this past Tuesday, we voted to bring a consultant on board to refresh or rewrite our comp plan, bring our comp plan into the 21st century. We are getting the absolute, I'm not going to go through the whole thing again, but we are getting the absolute cream of the crop in Inspire Placemaking Collective, the organization that's going to do this. They have done these comp plan refreshes for many, many counties and cities around the state of Florida and actually southeast U.S. So we are getting a new plan, and that plan will guide growth in the county for the next 25, 30 years. So let's move on to the budget. I intend to support the budget, the millage rates, as we've agreed on so far. This, over the past few weeks, is the first that I've heard of this book page thing. I knew absolutely nothing about it. I can tell you that some of the titles, some of the stuff that's been brought to light in there are certainly not any books that I would have any interest in, or my family. And I don't like the idea that that the taxpayers are footing the bill for this if it is what we're being told it is. I've actually sent an email today to Reese to ask him to make sure that I get a copy of that book page to my office every time there's a new issue. I want to start going through it and looking at it myself to find out if it is this horrific thing that we're being told that it is. I don't know that it is or not. What I do know is that the Library Advisory Board is going through the process of reviewing it now. As Commissioner Davis said, there is a chain of command. Our job is to approve the budget. Library Advisory Board, their job is to review these things that are brought up to them, and they have a process for doing that. I don't want to get in the weeds and start telling our library staff, do this, don't do this, unless the system fails. And we don't know that the system has failed. So they're going through the process now. I will personally be reviewing it myself. And look, we can make changes along the way. If this board 3 months from now, 6 months from now, puts on the agenda that we want to review this because we think Library Advisory Board got it wrong, library staff got it wrong, we can absolutely make changes when we want to along the way. So at this point, I'm going to support the budget as we already have approved. I'm going to support the millage rates where they're at. Let's see. There was a comment about stopping builders from building spec homes. Unfortunately, we can't do that. There are private property rights. If somebody has a piece of property that they own, they've got a right to build on it, whether it's an individual or a builder that's going to put their money into it, build it, and then has a plan to sell it for a profit. However, I will give credit to Commissioner Barrett. I like your idea of looking at how can that hit the tax rolls immediately. When it's completed, do we have the ability to do that so that it's not just sitting there for months on end? You know, the builders certainly, they're gonna push back on that, and that's fine. But if they're putting, you know, if they're loading these neighborhoods and our streets up with these homes that are sitting there empty for months on end, again, I don't know that they are. But if that's what we're hearing, then I think it's something we need to look at. So I'll give props to my colleague for bringing that up. Let's see here. And, you know, we should not be paying for the subscription in the library, what you can get for free. I know you're talking about other subscriptions, but I don't know if that book page is something that people can have sent to them for free. Or perhaps, you know, rather than giving them away, maybe there's a price on it. If they come into the library, they can buy it if they want to, so that the taxpayers aren't footing the bill for it. But anyway, that's all I've got to say about the things we've talked about.
Well, all great comments. Several months ago, we had a presentation here that talked about looking to the future and how the county will grow. And the comp plan has been in place for many, many years. It's been projected, this growth. I know people don't like it. Change is going to happen. But it's what's needed is for us to have the leadership that can look forward and plan for that. Because I think what I hear, everybody says we don't want this growth. But it's going to happen, and it's our job to help guide that growth in a very positive way. We know what we don't want it to look like. I know what I don't want it to look like. And I think most of you would agree with my position on that. I think we want some good quality development. What I do want to say is I think we also have the chicken or the egg. We have a community that's largely retirees, and we have a high residential tax burden. We need younger demographics here, but the people that are younger that want to move here need jobs. And frankly, we're at a crossroads. We need businesses that come here, but they also want a workforce. So what we have today is some older style developments if you're looking at what we've traditionally built in the past, but younger families don't necessarily always want an acre or 2 or 5 or 10. They're looking for something a little bit different. And we have to try to balance all of that out. I think something that kind of goes unsaid many times in the budget process is when we talk about the amount of tax collections and what's collected. And I know earlier somebody, I think he's left now, you're not taxed on the value of your house. There's an assessed value, which is significantly less than what your trade of how your house would be sold. So there's a big disconnect in the valuation and how you're taxed. But more so than that, if we're collecting roughly, I think, Tammy, this year it's what, 125 million rough in that zone in property tax? Yes. The numbers I have in front of me say to 2021, a large share of your budget is there's statutory requirements. And on the 2021 budget, it was almost $47 million of statutory requirements. I don't know, what's that number today? And I just want to read off a couple things here on statutory requirements. That includes the county audit, the Division of Forestry, county planning councils and forensic physical examinations. It includes land development and comprehensive planning and concurrency. It includes Medicaid and general assistance, burials and cremations. It includes the school resource officer program, the medical examiner, the detention support and emergency medical services. It includes FDLE and general insurance and other risk programs. And then last but not least is it includes the sheriff, the supervisor of elections, the tax collector, the property appraiser, state attorney, public defender, guardian ad litem, clerk of courts, and court administration. We're responsible for paying all of those things right off the top, along with your EMS, your fire. We hear you, but we're all taxpayers as well. And I think there was a time in Citrus County, we really didn't have the money through the Great Depression or recession. And we're playing catch up, and we're playing catch up with inflation. So we have to keep moving forward. I know it's not easy. I'm sympathetic, and I want you to know that we hear you, and we're doing our very best. We're doing our best to do the things that you want, to keep the road repaving, to provide adequate fire services, to give you the sheriff and his team that's out there to keep our community safe. So bear with us. We'll get through this. And I don't think that there's one of us up here that wouldn't tell you that we're free anytime to meet with you, talk with you, help educate you better, help you understand where the money comes from and where it goes. And I'm sure that I think I speak for every one of my colleagues. We're willing to meet you in your place, wherever you want to meet. And we want you to have a community that you're proud of. And we do appreciate you being here and speaking and letting us know what's on your minds. So thank you.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Finnegan.
Tammy, could you help me out with something? I realized it was on a separate page and not in this book, but when I was explaining with the 2 roll bags, could you read, you had a note about that for us and for the community at large. So for us to keep the budget the same, we would roll back, and that would be great. That means your taxes would be fine. Obviously, as some of you have pointed out, especially with roads, the county got woefully behind. So that's not really something we can do and provide you adequate service. When we had Ms. Wilson look into this for the other millage rates, because we do want to save you money, I didn't want to take away from anyone, and I think we can still roll back small amounts this year and not hurt those budgets. Could you read me the note that you gave to us, please?
So the health department, the rollback would be 0.0537, which would reduce their budget by $22,837. And the libraries, the rollback would be 0.2996, which would reduce their budget by $126,867.
And didn't you have something on there that would come out of the reserves?
Yes, that's where we would pull it out of the reserves.
Out of the reserves, not affecting the budgets that they've put before us. So they will lose nothing. It's just some out of the reserves, and board, we could still at least show that we are making an effort to the taxpayers to not just let the increases roll along. We cannot hurt anyone with that and only help. That's the final words I'll say. I don't know if that changed anyone's minds, but I don't know how we're going to vote for this, but that's where I stand. So if you want to, hopefully we'll take all of these individually and see where everybody is.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Davis.
Would you like a motion?
If you would like to put a motion out there.
And I believe the motion is all of it read. And by the way, Tammy, I failed to say thank you for knowing how to swim when we threw you in the deep end. She only got here right before budget season started. I mean, obviously, she ran a very big budget before with the school district, but still, very well done with you and your team.
Thank you.
So-
We can read them separately, right? Because like I said, I will vote for general fund and
I have to
transportation.
read this first before you can make a motion, so.
Okay.
Are we ready? If you're done with your comments?
You know, before we do that, I would like to hear, if it's okay with Mr. Howard, or if you want to do the comments for them, what that would mean for library. I mean, if they want to come defend it or you want to talk about it, I would like to hear what that means if you actually rolled that back, they pulled that out of reserves, because I don't know what their plan is for the future, what those reserves are for, what they're,
That's a great question, and Gail is sitting right there as well. from
Yeah, I'd
the
have to
health
ask them, because I didn't know this was going to occur tonight, so I don't have that before me, and I can't speak on their behalf. But if they want to come forward, the pleasure of the board, they can come forward if they can.
Hi, Commissioners. Adam Chang, Library Services Director. And your question about what does it do if we pull that money from reserves? So our reserves are a little bit different in that we don't pull from the general fund as far as library services. Everything is just separate in our own pot. It would just mean that the same way that if the county had less reserves, that would be the same impact. If we had less reserves for ours, if you pulled it from general fund, what would the impact be kind of there? But also do want to point out that class and pay a couple years ago, when all that was discussed and decided, general fund's millage went up to accommodate those class and pay increases, whereas library services millage stayed exactly the same. And there was $277,000 pulled out of the library's reserve to accommodate that class and pay adjustment. There was no millage change at that point, so libraries kind of held flat. So that money coming out of reserve wouldn't necessarily hurt the budget, as Commissioner Finnegan mentioned, but it wouldn't allow us to put any money back into our reserve that we're slowly building back up because of that depletion from the initial class and pay.
so I guess what I'm asking you, what is your business plan over the next 5 years that you're building reserves for, to use those reserves for?
So,
I mean, is it a new building? Is it renovations? Is it I mean, what's the plan?
Sure. For our reserves would be for several things. One, it's for those emergencies when something happens or something breaks. So if our HVAC goes down, if we need a new roof, if there's some major issue, if there's something catastrophic with the county that we need to pull from reserves, we have those funds to do that. So that's one piece of it. And then the other piece is, again, putting in those safeguards to make sure we have those ability to replace our vehicles when we need a new library courier van. Setting some money aside for those sort of things, setting money for roof replacements, because we do have 5 libraries. We do try to make sure that, or we're trying to make sure that we set money aside for those things. As you mentioned, a new building, expansions, renovation, those things are certainly all things that we're looking at. We have completed 2 renovations already with the Lakes Region and Coastal Region libraries. Those were just over $600,000 to do those renovations. Those are made possible through ARPA funding as well as donations that we had from our foundation. I don't anticipate those same kind of grants necessarily being available to do other renovations, but we do have the Central Ridge Library, which is 31 years old this year, is going to need some upgrades and some adjustments, especially with the population growth in those areas. We are scheduled to do a community needs assessment coming up in the next couple months, and that's going to help us identify those long-term needs or wants for the community as far as library services over the next 5, 10, 20 years. Once we get that data, we'll have a better idea of where people want different things. I hear a lot about library services and how we need to be able to open up libraries for additional hours, especially in Floral City. I'm hearing that a lot lately. So it's going to be for those things in the future is what we'd like to make sure that we have money to be able to kind of do those things as the community grows and they provide those kind of inputs for us.
Commissioner Barrick.
I have a question then. If the line item for this were taken up, and it is a subscription, correct?
I think she's talking about
I'm asking
those.
about this book page. Is that a subscription?
Yes.
Okay, so if that line item were taken out, okay, I know it's not a lot of money, but at least it's something we're taking out. And you found that it were necessary, you could actually go to reserves and put it back in, correct?
Yes.
Because you have the reserves there.
Yes.
So, as I
Well,
look at it, because it's a subscription, it needs to be taken out, because it's a non-necessary subscription. In other words, it's something that I could go to the store and get a subscription anytime, like People Magazine. It's a subscription. Yes, granted, they give us 30 copies or whatever, that's fine. But the thing is, if people wanted to, they could get in touch with the book page people, and they would get a free thing sent to their house, like I do with the other stuff, because it is available. So the thing is, I agreed with with Commissioner Finnegan, that line item needs to be taken out. Push comes to shove, there's money in the reserve. If you need to put it back in later, then you put it back in later. Okay, because the money is there. In other words, if by December you find out, oh, well, we really, really need this, you can go out and purchase it, correct? Because you will have money in the reserves.
Technically, yes. That would be
Technically, yes, that's
accurate,
what I wanted to
yes.
know. Technically, yes.
I do want to point out that book page, we do get not 30 copies at each location. We get 500 copies of book page a month. It's 100 per location, and there's about a 90% utilization on that. So our patrons are taking them. Roughly, we're running out of them almost every month. So there is certainly a lot of people utilizing that material. I can't speak for the model of if they could just get free magazines mailed to their home as far as book page. I'm not aware if that's an option the book page provides.
If you were to get rid of it out of the library, by December, you would know, you would have customers, you would have citizens coming up and saying, when is book page coming back? If you were to get people asking and asking and asking, then I would say, go to the reserve and put that in, because if it's only $3,300 for the whole year, it's not gonna ruin your reserves, is it?
Right. I can already tell you that we do have a lot of patrons that are giving me feedback that it's something that they want. They want to make sure that we keep. I can tell you that we've just discontinued interlibrary loans.
How many of the
concern about those.
171,000?
How many of?
How many of 171,000 are asking for it?
I couldn't give you a full number on that. I would say I've probably heard from about 40 or 50 people.
Okay.
Commissioner Barrick, with all
that's
due-
all I'm asking. I'm not asking any more questions.
Can I get us back on topic?
Commissioner Finnegan.
Tammy, can I ask you another question?
with the rollback of the library and rollback even of the health department, what does that leave in the reserves for each one of those?
If the health department went to rollback, they would have $570,000 in their reserves. The library, if they went to rollback, would have $132,000.
Thank you. My decision on that stands.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gail Guidish. I'm not used to a county not allowing the health department to do a presentation. I think it's interesting that all the other county departments would do a presentation, and I know that we're a little bit different because we're, a hybrid. So I would like to suggest maybe next year to allow me to tell you about the good work that we do. In speaking specifically about the amount of money that is on hold, we were holding that money for renovations for the buildings in the Lecanto government complex. We were being a good steward of our money because there was a space study being done. And the last thing we wanted to do is to renovate a building to turn around, make it a clinic, and then give it to somebody else for the courts or some other opportunity. So the space study came out again. The change has been, again, that maybe folks that we have in IFAS will go to Lecanto government building. I don't believe it's been finalized, so that is why we were keeping it held level, because it would be a waste of money to renovate and then turn around and give it away. Other opportunities that I would like you to know is that we were supposed to give the septic program to DEP, and that has changed. DEP will not be taking it for another year. So as we were planning on allowing staff to leave and make sure that we can give away the program, we've had to maintain it, so we've had to scramble to keep that program. As well as the growth in the community has been fantastic. And Tampa General and the other hospital systems and the health systems have been great for us. But if you could imagine, it is going to be very difficult for us to keep our staff in our building when Tampa General is paying the staff that they are paying. We have lost staff to the hospital system. So we are hoping that we could keep some of this money to be able to add increases to our staff, because nurses, doctors, they do not, they're hard to keep. And if you would talk to some of the Chronicle and some of the other local interests, it has been very difficult for us to keep specialists, especially OBGYNs as well. We are one of the very few people that do high-risk births in this county, and I will say that we are increasing our younger population. As difficult as it is to give them jobs, we still have to see many, many women with high-risk pregnancies. So that is what I'll have to say about our funds. And I just want to point out our millage rate is 0.0564. So the $20,000, we have it. We'll give it to you if you would like it. But I would kindly ask, because I believe 2 years ago, we were the only group that also were rolled back. And so I think it behooves me to come up to here and tell you about what we do. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Were they rolled back? Not since I've sat here, no one's ever rolled back. I don't think so. Maybe before that?
Barbara said 2 years.
Barbara?
All right, Tammy, would you like to read something?
All right, so C5, I'd like to set the tentative millage rates for 25-26. I request that the board make a motion to adjust or adopt the millage rates and authorize the chairman to execute a resolution adopting the Board of County Commissioners' tentative millage rates for the countywide millage, library service, fire taxing district, fire rescue EMS, MSTU, and stormwater MSTU for 25-26. Once you make your motion, then I will read in the millage rates.
Commissioner Davis?
Did you want me to read them in as well, or
No,
just?
you just make a motion to adopt the millage rates as is, or if you want to adjust them.
I make a motion that we adopt the millage rates as is.
I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Davis.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Kennard.
So, Madam Chair, I would really like to vote yes on a budget for some point. I guess I have for preliminaries or whatnot, but I don't know if we can break these out. I feel like,
So I need to read them all, and then you can adjust them from there if you can vote on them one by one.
I think the taxpayers are looking for something from us, and I think taking a little bit out of reserves, like I said, it's not hurting anyone. I definitely wouldn't want to take anything from people doing good work in the health department, but you know, the county, I would say roll it back too, but obviously there's so many pressing needs. People come up, we need this, we need this, we need this, and I haven't heard that from other entities, you know, and I'm not hurting their budgets, so I don't know, board, I guess. I'll vote no if you want to do it in one lump sum, but I would like to vote yes on something to show the good work of our staff that has worked on our budget.
I'll read the millage rates now, and then you can vote accordingly. The Citrus County Board of County Commissioners, the 25-26 millage general fund, 6.9898. Transportation, 0.9860. Health Department, 0.0564. A total countywide millage of 8.0322. Our special districts, library services, 0.3147. The fire taxing district, 0.0000. Fire MSTU, 0.5780. Stormwater MSTU, 0.0000. The total special districts is 0.8927. The total proposed tentative millage rate is 8.9249, which I would like to state is not an increase over last year. And the proposed tentative aggregate millage rate of 8.8733 mils is 5.01% increase over the aggregate rolled back rate of 8.4502 mils.
So I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Davis and a second by Commissioner Kennard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1.
That was 3-2, wasn't it?
3-2.
Oh, did you say nay? Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I did
So
not hear
Barrett and
that.
Finnegan were.
She says aye when she means nay.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes.
I should make a quick comment. It doesn't take too deep of a Google search or, going on Copilot or any of the other AI software programs that are out there to look and see where Citrus County ranks in terms of the tax burden to our residents here. Of the 67 counties, Citrus County consistently ranks either in the middle or in the bottom half of all 67 counties. I was just sitting here looking, ran across a couple different ones, Tax Watch and others, where out of 67 counties, we're ranked 51st or 52nd in terms of tax burden that's here. I take great pride in that. This budget this year, as it stands right now, is a 1.79% increase. I would much rather have a 0% increase or a decrease. I absolutely despise paying property taxes every year, but I know sitting up here and seeing the budget every year for the past 9 years, hearing what our what our sheriff's office needs, understanding what our fire services needs, or understanding what EMS and the jail and so forth. The list goes on and on and on. I believe this board and previous boards have really done a fantastic job of trying to keep the tax burden as low as we possibly can on the residents. And I think statistically, it's borne out that we have done a good job. All of the while continuing to increase our bond rating. I believe we're, for an average of a AA minus right now at this point, or maybe it's a AA at this point, which is a fantastic bond rating for a county this size. Our reserves are at 15%, or very close to it, which is a good place for our reserves to be, and that goes into the calculation of a bond rating or is considered in giving us our bond rating. So when you see or hear about all the negativity around the taxes, you're taxing me to death, those sorts of things, I get it. I understand the pain of paying the taxes. Believe me, I understand the pain of it. But the Citrus County government, the first responders and so forth, need the revenues to function. And I believe they're functioning on as lean of a budget as we can get at this point. Can you find $100 here or there? There's no doubt in my mind you can. Could you find 1,000 here or there? No doubt you could. But at this point, I believe this board and our budget department have done a phenomenal job. I'm happy to support it.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Davis?
a couple of other comments. In terms of reserves, remember we had 3 hurricanes last year. 2 of them were back to back. One was absolutely devastating. We have to have those reserves to front money to come out of a hurricane situation. How many days is 15%?
Yeah, it's probably about that. We
About
needed
53 days.
It cost us $3.5 million to pick up all that debris. So of course,
Yeah.
we're waiting on FEMA, but that'll be a while probably. But we have to be prepared for those moments.
My second point is to remember that road slide when we were spending $1 million a year on roads back in 2015. That's why we are spending 5 times what we should be spending per mile, because they were allowed to degrade. There was a distinct lack of political courage with some of the former boards. They didn't face down the audience saying, so they did roll back and they kept letting the roads decay. The roads is just one part of it. We still have fewer employees in this county than we did in, what, 2008, Steve? 2008, I think it is, or Bays?
2012.
Yeah, so we cannot keep doing this. We have to look to the future, and this board is doing a very good job of looking to the future in so many aspects on that. Thirdly, I would point out that our citizens here, our residents, is quite the tale of 2 stories. We have a lot of very wealthy people in this community. On the flip side, 80% of our school children are on free and reduced lunch. 24% of our children live in horrific poverty. No working refrigerator, cockroaches everywhere, stepping over holes in the floor, leaky roofs. This board just picked on the 2 biggest services that people that live in poverty use to try to get out of poverty, to try to not be on SNAP, to educate themselves at the library, to get their GED there, to access internet that they cannot afford at home. And it's good parents that go to the health department to learn how to feed their children and to learn how to raise healthier families. If you were not raised by good parents, what chance do you have without some sort of external help to know how to raise your own children? And I applaud those parents that go to the library system and they go to the health department, and we can't just take it out on them for political points. Thank you.
Commissioner Barrick?
I hear everything you're saying, and I agree. The only reason that I didn't vote for it is I would have liked to have seen the line item, and I would have liked to have seen that one line cut from the budget from the library. Now, I asked the library person, and they said he's had about 40 calls. I had 17 people came up today, 17 that do not want it. That's almost half of what you're getting, okay? And that's at a meeting that is at night that they have to come to. So when I see that many citizens against something, and you tell me you've got 40, there's no reason why we shouldn't have taken and done a line item for that one division and said, okay, if you get 150 people, 200 people, fine, you put it back in later out of reserves. But that was one of the main reasons I voted against it. But other than that, everything that the budget has done is really, really, really good. You have done everything we asked. as a board. And I was proud of that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Finnegan.
I hope I misunderstood, and I was going to sit here quietly, but Commissioner Davis, you said we just picked on? I feel like I'm the only person up here that has ever thought about money and had to struggle, and I'm happy that you've never had to do that. I'm not picking on anybody by talking about that. That is honestly the craziest thing I've ever heard you say up here. I'm looking out for taxpayers. I didn't do anything to hurt their budget. They're not going to slash any programs. They're not going to stop helping anybody. They have a little bit less money packed away in reserves. That's it. But it tells the taxpayers that we're just not going to tax and spend because it's there. I said that at the preliminary budget hearing. Government never shrinks. All we do is let it grow. Why? Because you want everyone to like you. Well, we want the who's who, you know, we don't want to affect anybody. Do you think our county staff liked that, you know, they had to go back and Public Works didn't get 2 people that they wanted to? I want them to have those people, but right now, we just can't tax for every little thing. It matters. You're right. If somebody needed 25 or 50 bucks here today, and they asked me for it, I could give it to them. And it would not change my week. It would not change my life if they never paid me back. But I remember, and I know how that feels to somebody else, that $25 different in a week could change their whole week. I am sorry that some people don't understand that, but I do. I'm not picking on anybody.
All right, board members. We have to rescind the vote because we have to have 4 for the fire.
Yes. So I asked for you to vote line by line.
Yes.
And Commissioner Bays, the rollback rate will save the average home approximately $4. I just want to let you know that. If we go to the rollback for those 2 entities, that's the average savings.
And true or false, the most poverty-stricken don't really pay taxes because their homestead value is...
I can't answer that question, I'm sorry.
All right, Commissioner Davis, I need you to rescind your vote on C5.
Rescind my motion or
Or
vote?
your motion, I'm sorry. And then I'll have to wait for Commissioner Kennard to come back.
I would ask that maybe Commissioner Barrett reconsider hers.
Well, we're going to be going through them line by line.
I understand that, but I think I made a pretty good argument for, especially for $4 a year. I'm exactly the average homeowner. This will save me $4.
I need you to rescind your motion on C5. We have to do these line by line because fire takes 4 votes.
Well, I'll rescind my second.
Okay. All right, Miss Tammy.
All right. So I request that you make a motion for the general fund millage of 6.9898.
I make a motion to approve the general fund millage in 6.9898.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Finnegan and a second by Commissioner Barrick. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
I make a motion to approve the Health Department millage of 0.
Well, you got to do transportation.
Oh,
Wait, I think Ms.
sorry, I thought you
Tammy's
did
go- I think
transportation
Ms.
as well.
I think Tammy is going to read them off.
Okay.
I request that you make a motion for transportation of 0.9860.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Finnegan
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Barrick. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
I ask that you approve the health department for 0.0564.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Davis and a second by Commissioner Barrick. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1.
I ask that you approve the library for 0.3147.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Davis and a second by Commissioner Kennard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Opposed.
Motion carries 3-2.
I ask that you approve the fire taxing district of 0.000.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Finnegan and a second by Commissioner Barrick. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This is one we can all agree on.
I request the fire MSTU to be 0.5780.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Barrick and a second by,
I did it, so I'll do second.
okay. Second by Commissioner Davis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
I ask for the stormwater MSTU of 0.000.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Davis and a second by Commissioner Barrick. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
So now we'll move on to C6 to set the tentative budget for fiscal year 25-26. I request that the board make a motion to adopt and authorize the chairman to execute the resolution adopting the 25-26 tentative budget for the countywide budget, library services, fire taxing district, fire rescue EMS MSTU, and the stormwater MSTU.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Davis, a second by Commissioner Kennard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1.
C7, I now will announce the date and time and location for the final budget hearing, which will be September 23rd, 2025, 5:01 at the County Commission Meeting Room, 1110 North Apopka Avenue, Inverness, Florida. This is all I have for the budget hearing tonight. Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, we stand adjourned.
That good.